Hi there everybody and welcome to Dicely D&D. My name is Teni and today we're doing something a little different than the content I normally make. I'm going to be reviewing the new book that came out from Wizards of the Coast called Fizban Treasury of Dragons. And the reason that I'm doing this here for you today is because this is a bit of a special episode. As of the release of this video, this has been 1 year of Dicely D&D being up on YouTube. And to celebrate, not only do I want to review this book, but also I want to give you guys the chance to win yourself a copy of Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. So what I'm going to need you to do is stick around until the end of the video if you want to hear more about how to win a copy of that book for yourself. So I've never quite done anything like this before, so I guess what I'm going to do is just kind of flip through the book. We'll take a look at the art, take a look at generally what these sections have in it, and yeah, we'll go from there. So this is Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. The artwork on the cover here was done by Chris Ron, and the alternative cover art was done by Anato Finstark. So, as you can already tell, I imagine, this book is mostly about dragons in Dungeons & Dragons. And the different chapters in this book include an intro as to like the kind of lore of dragons within D&D, as well as chapters on character creation, dragon magic, dragons in play, layers and hordes, a Draconomicon, and a bestiary, as well as an additional chapter about, or well, at least in the table of contents, pages you can find specific sidebars that you might find interesting. So I'm not going to be stopping to talk about anything in particular, I'm just doing some voiceover as I flip through this book here, but there's a lot of great content that's added for both DMs and players in this book. Dragonborn in the original Player's Handbook I thought were rather underwhelming, though Dragonborn were always cool. The tweaks they did to make chromatics, metallics, and gem Dragonborn feel unique it's great. There's more that gets added about breath, it's superb. As well as a couple of subclass options in the Way of the Ascendant Dragon for the monks and the Drake Warden for the rangers. In the Dragon Magic section here, we get additional spells for spellcasters to use, and of course, each of these are flavored to be related to dragons. We also get additional magic items. There are horde magic items, and in this book, it seems that items that had belonged to a dragon's horde have a sort of power that is associated with them. And I think making a dragon's horde have more value is great. Now, the Dragons in Play section is about kind of making your dragon NPCs unique, giving them personality, details and information about dragons themselves, such as like their lifespans, their reproductions, all those kind of, I guess, zoologist kind of details that you might be looking for about dragons. And they also give you additional ways to think about how to incorporate dragons into your campaign settings, like encounters with dragons, adventures revolving around dragons, and kind of taking a dragon and making it the center of your D&D story. And considering that D&D, half of that is dragons, this is a great help for anybody who had thought that dragons weren't present enough in their games. Ooh, and this is just a great shot of Tiamat. Some great art in this book. As I was mentioning before, layers and hordes, this section, we're adding more importance to the dragon's horde. Because of course, anybody goes out and they defeat a dragon, dragons are known for collecting treasures and this kind of thing. So in this chapter, we can learn like what the dragon has been keeping in their horde, how to help DMs create their dragon hordes and such. Now, the Draconomicon, this is the chapter where we get a closer look at each of the types of dragons and kind of giving them additional insight into their mental states. Like what makes a black dragon different from an amethyst dragon, and considering that dragons all live in different types of environments, they have different breath weapons, the lore suggests that they have different allegiances or alliance to certain dragon deities. This chapter kind of gives us some of the same things we would use in our own creation or character creation, like ideals, flaws, bonds. Like, we learn about what specific types of dragons care about, what values they might hold. And I mean, as with most things in D&D, you can completely ignore these things. These are more guidelines to help you get into a specific type of mindset. And I love that this chapter also includes like dragon turtles, which hadn't been part of the dragon classification, at least in the monster manual. I think they might have had the dragon monster type, but they weren't considered dragons. We also get this treatment to fairy dragons, as well as a dragon that got introduced in this book called a Moonstone Dragon, which is, from what I've read anyway, it seems to be a dragon that's kind of infused with the magics of the Feywild. So they're more of a, I guess, whimsical fantasy fairy tale kind of dragon. I guess kind of along the same lines as the fairy dragon, but I'll probably need to read more about those dragons in specific. But yeah, so this chapter will carry us continuing on through all of the dragons. Shadow dragons, sapphire dragons, all the dragons you got in the monster manual, all the way up to the last in alphabetical order, which is the white dragons. I also love that all of the gem dragons have these like elements of gems that kind of float around them. I think that's a very interesting aesthetic choice. But I suppose that relates to their psionics and probably has some connection to Ioun stones. The last chapter in this book is a series of stat blocks that weren't present in the monster manual or any other bestiary up to this point. So we get additional creatures and stat blocks that are related to dragons. Back a couple of pages there, you might have noticed there was something called animated breath. Wow, like, what interesting ideas we get for creatures in this book. And of course, we get some artwork for all of the new gem dragons that have been added. This deep dragon, which that is an interesting looking thing. And the Draco Hydra, well, there's something. And it's, you know what, Hydras and Tiamat, there's an inherent link there, considering that they're both reptilian, like multi-headed things. So I wonder what the lore connection between those is. That might be some more research I will have to do. We get stat blocks for dragonborn followers of the different dragon deities. Stat blocks for things that are obsessed with dragons, you know, and it's not everything is a dragon, so that I find is very neat. And this book introduces us, we get a few more different ages of dragon turtle. That's great. Elder Brain Dragon, everybody's talking about this one. That's going to get used in one of my campaigns at some point. But yeah, so something I wanted to say about the gem dragons there. I love the addition of these guys. And I know in older editions of D&D that these things had been present. I've heard people talk about them before. But I didn't really know what their shtick was. You know, I started in 4th edition. I don't recall if they were present for that edition, but just, I mean, having an additional faction with these dragons created by, I believe the entity's name is Sardior. I might be pronouncing that completely wrong too, but like an additional entity beyond Tiamat and Bahamut. It's very fascinating. And, sea serpents. So we get other reptilian-ish type creatures, and I believe this brings us to the end of the book with the Topaz Dragon. Yeah. So there's a creature list there with all the different types and CRs of monsters in this book, and here's the back of the cover. So I personally think this book is a great use if you want to be inspired by dragons, or if you want to incorporate more dragons in your game. Hopefully this quick flip through was enough to entice you to perhaps want a copy of this book for yourself. Well, thank you all for sticking through that review with me. Again, first time I've done anything like this, so hopefully you're as hyped about dragons as I am, because this book surely delivers a lot more lore about these creatures that are completely associated with the game. And now, for the part some of you are probably waiting for, more details about this giveaway. So, Dicely's been up on YouTube for 1 year, and I want to celebrate by giving one of you out there the chance to win a copy of this book. So this is a completely free to enter contest. You will need to have a valid email address, however. None of the information that is collected for this contest will be kept. This is purely for the logistics of figuring out shipping and getting the prize to you and all. This contest is only open to residents of Canada and the United States, and you must be 13 years of age. So to enter the contest, you will click the link down below that will take you to the gleam.io widget that will be running this. Any of the rules and terms and conditions can be found there as well. The only thing you'll need to do once you're there is click on the button that will bring you back to the Dicely DnD YouTube page, and perhaps once you get there, leave a subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the videos and maybe even more contests in the future. That is the only thing you need to do to enter this contest, but you can increase your chances of winning and getting more entries by doing several of the bonus tasks that Gleam has put forward. Follow the Twitch channels, subscribe to our Podbean podcast, follow the links to our different social medias, share this with your friends, go follow on Twitter. Take advantage of the many other ways to earn more entries in this contest. And I want to see one of you guys win this book that we reviewed here today. The winner will be generated randomly on the Gleam widget. So once the contest is over, the winner will be decided then. And I will get in contact with you as soon as I can. And then you must reply to me within 48 hours in order to claim your prize. The contest will be operating from the moment this video is up. The contest ends on November 7th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the winner will be announced on many of the different social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and on the widget itself, so be sure to check back in on those platforms. This giveaway is not at all sponsored by YouTube or Wizards of the Coast. They are not affiliated in any way. And this is purely out of my pocket. I wanted to get this book and gift it to one of you out there. Thank you all for an amazing first year of creating content for you through Dicely D&D. And a big thank you to my cast of Play Dicely, everybody who's come on this week Dicely podcast, the big collaborations I've started doing with other D&D YouTubers. It's really humbling to know that the community out here is really quite amazing. And I hope we can continue to grow this. And also, if you actually liked the review format I did here, let me know, leave a comment, and I'll try and refine this and make it more streamlined, I guess, or improve it however I can, because this was kind of fun. But yes, so thank you all so much, and until next time, may you all play Dicely.